was actually really interesting for me to take this project on because I had looked at this house to buy as my own project prior to meeting the client. And when I lost in the bidding war to purchase this house, the client called me about 4 days later and I said, wait a second, are you the house with the pool and the garage? And she said, yes, that's the house. And I said, I'm very familiar with it. I'd love to come and meet with you. Even though I wasn't going to get to work on it for myself and had been disappointed with that, I was thrilled that I got the opportunity to work on it. This house was very dark when we first got here, and by adding a 17-foot addition off the back of the house, brought the outdoors in and also allowed us to see how beautiful the yard is. They wanted a space to feel that they could be watching the kids and being part of the family. They wanted a spot for the kids to be able to do homework or watch television or play, and they could also be in the kitchen at the same time. In terms of aesthetically, they really wanted the space to have kind of a farmhouse cottagey feel, but also have a real authenticity to it and reflect the neighborhood. So we were able to bring some of that back into the design at the same time. It was difficult for us doing a little more of that farmhouse cottage feel kitchen, but I still wanted it to feel contemporary for them. So we mixed in a shaker with the beadboard. So you get like a shaker style contemporary cabinet, and then we brought in the mesh, and that added a whole other texture and element to it, and then offset it with a couple of really interesting archways and pattern details in the cabinetry. The fridge that they wanted was a really large fridge. It wasn't a counter depth fridge, so we had to hide the fact that it wasn't going to sit flush or plumb with the rest of the cabinet. So where the fridge went back, we actually built the cabinetry out on the corner so that it allowed for the fridge to hide, but then also give us a little bit of storage along the side for brooms and cleaning materials. Going with a colored kitchen was a bit of a challenge because making sure we get something that not only works right now, but that is going to work for them in 10 years. So we chose something that was in that gray vein and in that natural color, but had that hint of blue-green to it. Depending on the way that the light changes, the cabinetry changes as well, which is really nice because you're in this vast space with tons of natural light, and then at night it kind of cozies up and warms up the kitchen. So other areas where we brought that cottage farmhouse feel in were with the floors. We used a really wide plank, kind of honey-colored natural flooring that I love the natural look to it, the distressed look, the knots that are in it. And then we also clad the entire extension in old barnwood. And by using that, it kind of gave that warm texture and that richness to the space at the same time. We then also used the same wood on the floating shelves on either side of the fireplace. And we actually used the brick because there are areas throughout the home where exposed brick is used, and we wanted to keep that feel and flow. But we painted it out into white so it didn't feel like we were just pulling veneer from somewhere else. Halfway through the design process, we decided to switch the layout of the basement. So we had to switch the staircase direction, and we had to bump out a little bit of headroom for the walkway down to the basement. So we ended up using a credenza to hide a little area of bump out that was coming through the floor on the main floor. So only half of the credenza is functional. For me, the most exciting part about working on this home was the architectural plans and getting to go through the floor plans of the home. I absolutely love working on the exterior elevations and deciding what the home's going to look like from the outside as well as the inside, but working backwards in that plan. So working with the floor plans and deciding how these people are going to live in this home and what's the experience going to be like for years to come and who's going to spend time here, and then pushing it to the exterior and designing the shell around the functionality of the house. If I could describe the space with one word, I would say that the word would be thoughtful. There was so much work and so much research and so much upfront that went into working with these clients that their home and their heart and their soul is really in here. So I think thoughtful would be the word I would use.